Hi, I just wanted to get on here and touch base with you. It is a beautiful day here in Alaska. We don't get tons of these wonderful, beautiful summer days, but when we do, we're very thankful for them. And I wanted to get on here and just talk about what's happened in our nation as of late and what's been happening, what's been stirring up over the last few decades. As you know, our former President Trump suffered an assassination attempt the other day, and it's really grieving a lot of our hearts. And I think it was really a wake-up call to our nation that we need to think about the freedoms that we steward. We do have freedom of speech in this nation, thank God, but there's a difference between freedom and liberty. Freedom means we can do what we want in so many different ways. I mean, there are limits to that freedom, but we can basically enjoy so many different freedoms, like freedom of speech, right? At the same time, liberty is actually the wise use of that freedom. It's the freedom to not just do things how we want, but to do things well. And I think it's time that we embrace liberty. And part of this embracing of liberty is realizing that we are not just called to keep the peace, but we are called to make peace where there isn't peace. Now, years ago, I realized that we were in a crisis, that we were going to be in a crisis in our nation, because I started to see the rumblings underneath that something was wrong in our culture. We were starting to treat people like I'd never seen us treat people before as Americans. And you know, it's interesting that I'm here at this park, because this park, years ago, I was a cul-de-sac stay-at-home mom, homeschooling mom, and I would come over to this park, and I remember one time I was over here, I don't know if I was here to get my kids or what it was, but I saw these young kids, and they were tiny, and they were just yelling obscenities at each other, and they were threatening to fight each other. It was just really, really ugly, and it was just right around here. And I remember, thank God I was taller than them. I'm not taller than many kids, but I'm not taller than my own kids these days. But I was able to say to them, hey guys, you need to stop this ugly talk, and you need to go back to your own homes. And I wouldn't leave until they went away from each other, because something bad was about to go down, even though they were that young. And you know, this just illustrates to me the difference between peacekeeping and peacemaking. A lot of us, we grew up in times of peace, relative peace. And so we're good at peacekeeping, which means we're good at keeping things kind of just status quo. And, you know, we don't want to stir up any trouble. So we just try to avoid, right? And in my book, Pride and Privilege, I call this the white glove syndrome. We're just like, I'm not going to get involved. We're not going to go, you know, stir up a hornet's nest. And there is a level of wisdom to that. But what I saw happening at my park was something was getting stirred up. And if I was going to walk on by and ignore that, I wouldn't actually be stewarding my influence well. And I knew in that moment that because I was a little bit taller than them and had more authority, I was able to say, no, this stops here. And sometimes when you step into a situation that is volatile and you say, that's enough, that is a level of risk, and it takes a level of bravery to do that. But what peacemakers do is they go make peace where there isn't peace. And so we need a lot more of that happening in our nation. We need people to recognize that something under the surface is not right. And that's why I talk so much about having brave conversations, because I believe that we stepped out of conversations that we should have been having with people. And you know, face-to-face conversations, people that we have relationship with, and say, hey, I noticed this post on Facebook didn't make a lot of sense to me with your character. Why did you say that? What did you do? What, you know, why are you stirring up all this vitriol? So that we realize as a nation, we can be better than this. Our founders assumed that we would have these conversations and that we would have peaceable debates, and we would have them well so that we could come to more and more truth. But now we're just getting out our popcorn and we're watching all the fights, and we are lapping it up on media to where media is like, oh, let's create something salacious. Let's create something that, let's just keep slinging mud, and people will keep tuning in and watching us more and more. And that's why the media thrives off of this stuff. It's because we're eating it up. All right, so all of us have something to change about ourselves, and we all have a measure of influence to steward in this, that we can be not part of the problem, but we can be part of the solution. And when we notice that our political conversations are descending into ad hominem attacks and mudslinging, we can stop it and we can nip it in the bud, and we can allow it to go no further. This, like I said, this is a wake-up call for us, and thank God our president wasn't harmed more than he was, our former president. But there was somebody who did lose their life over this. And, you know, I just hope that all of us are going to learn from this. I see people on the right and the left realizing this is not a good thing. This does not bode well for our culture. And I think that people around the world are looking at us. So I just pray for our nation. I pray for both of our political candidates and all the people surrounding them, that they would realize what is harming and what is helping our nation, and that people everywhere would start to rise up and commit to stopping the harm. That I thank you that some of it has been brought to light, but that our eyes would be awakened, and that we would realize that it is time to pursue not just freedom, but liberty, to pursue wisdom in all of our ways, and with our speech, and with the things that we listen to and the things that we click on, that every person and their voice matters, and that we can actually, if we decide we're going to come together and reject the toxic tribalism, that we can change this nation together with your help, Lord. We need your help so much. And so I just thank you that you are sovereign, that you have a plan and a purpose for our nation, and I trust you in that. God bless you all, and I just hope that you think about that you speak and act and listen wisely. Until next time.